and welcome back to another video. And now that all of my live reactions are out of my system, I felt that now was a good time to really go back and really do quick summaries and discussions about everything that we learned, such as the keynote and the letter from the producer. So I'm not going to be covering everything here, of course, especially with the letter from the producer. I'm just going to be covering what I feel are the important bits here. And so I'm not going to be covering anything like any of the special events or any of the merchandise that we did see for the letter from the producer. I will be making a separate video about that, as well as like all the other merchandise that we can get from the game, and especially from the Square Enix store. So this here is just really going to be only information about patch 5.5 part 2. So the first thing that we have is that we do have a release date for it, which is going to be May 25th. So I was kind of thinking that it was going to be May 25th, and I kind of have everything set up in my game for that. They did mention briefly that they were playing around with the idea of actually releasing it this week, just after the Digital Fan Festival. Unfortunately, they didn't feel like it was a good idea, and so they decided to hold off until next week. The good news, though, is that it's just over a week away, so yeah, I think that we can hold out a little bit longer. So not too much is going to be happening here except kind of finishing everything up for Shadowbringers. So of course the big thing, at least for me, is going to be part 2 of the Death Unto Dawn main scenario quest. So this is going to be the final main scenario quest for Shadowbringers. It's going to be wrapping up Shadowbringers and kind of paving the way for Endwalker. So we're going to have to pay close attention. And apparently we're going to be meeting somebody very interesting, I guess very special, who's going to be playing a major role in Endwalkers during this final part of the patch. So I'm looking forward to that. The main bulk of the game, however, is going to be made up of Save the Queen. And they did talk a great deal about Save the Queen. I will be happy to go over all that information once we reach it. But yeah, so we're going to have plenty of time to be able to do the Save the Queen updates. And also they did mention that this is going to be the epilogue for Your High Dark Apocalypse. I'm a little surprised about that, to be honest. I do know that if you've been playing Dark Apocalypse up till now, like they have these weekly quests where we're helping to rebuild the village of Comra. Spoilers there. But apparently in this particular patch we're actually going to be getting an epilogue, like an ending to the story. So a little surprising there, but I'm actually kind of happy about that. And finally, just a minor thing here, if you collect all of the cards in the game up to this point, apparently there's going to be some special rewards there. Not sure what it is just yet, looking forward to finding out what that is though. I myself don't have all the cards yet, I'm still missing a few, that's okay. I do really just want to know what's going on there. Okay, next up, we do... And also mentioning very briefly, this is also going to be the patch where they introduce PlayStation 5. It's going to be getting service, and so hopefully before Endwalkers comes out I will be able to get that myself. But yeah, so anyone who is playing PlayStation 5, this is where it's going to begin. That's where the official service starts anyway. So I think we can leave it at that. Moving on to Save the Queen. So there was a lot of information. In fact, most of the conversations that they did have about patch 5.5 part 2 was about Save the Queen. So this is going to be the final installment for the Save the Queen series, where we're going to be rushing off into Bozja, and apparently we're going to get the conclusion to that little story. So we're going to be getting a new battlefield known as Zadnor. On the border with the occupied Dalmasca in the northeast of Bozja stands the Sunken Plateaus. It is here that the 4th Legion will make its stand, and the battle for Bozja reaching its bloody climax. So this is going to be a completely new area. We haven't seen this area yet. I'm guessing that's probably on the other side of where the Castrum Nate Latori is going to be. Now, but yes, this is going to be us finishing that story up till now. The requirements for this are actually pretty easy. We just need to complete the main scenario up to patch 5.4, as well as complete the Save the Queen story up to 5.45. So if we have that, then we'll automatically be allowed in and be able to participate in all sorts of new fun challenges. So yes, like it says here, the final chapter of Save the Queen is going to be penned, and the resistance rank cap is actually going to increase from 15 to 25, good to know there. New skirmishes and critical engagements are going to be added. We'll talk more about that in a moment. As well as a new large-scale assault, which has 48 players. It's going to be added, known as the Darida, which, if I had to guess, is probably going to be that massive airship that we saw last time. So they did show us a couple cutscenes about it so far, and here we have 2 of the members probably stalking around the area, and they didn't really go too much into detail about it. Of course, I mean, they did say if they talk too much, they'll be going to be giving a lot of spoilers. However, they did mention that during this particular quest line, the Warrior of Light must make a difficult decision, such as how we've seen in a few other quests, such as with Eureka most especially. You had to make a certain quest which would change the entire outcome. So that could change the entire outcome of the story. Apparently, though, you will still be getting the same outcome, but it's kind of like a different path that we're going to have to take. So they say, just don't focus too much about it, just follow your heart and choose what you think is right. So they didn't really tell us what this difficult decision is going to be. If I had to guess, it probably involves Misaja and Makoto for some reason. But moving on from there to a couple other cut screens. So in this screenshot, we actually have a preview of one of the skirmishes. This here is going to be one of the boss battles we're going to fight. Actually makes you want to turn away from just looking at it. Next up here we have, this guy kind of confused me because he looks like Malias that we fought before. And I do know that a lot of Espers are making an appearance during Save the Queen. Thing is though, we've already seen something like him before, and he really doesn't look like the same Malias that we fought before during the Ritakata Lighthouse. But I'm guessing that this is going to be like some kind of critical engagement. That's what it looks like. So this is going to be one of the bosses that we fight there. As well as this guy. So this is definitely going to be another one of those critical engagements, which at least I'm thinking it's going to be. But if you're a fan of Final Fantasy XII, you already know who those guys are. This guy is definitely, well, he's not really a critical engagement. He's actually going to be one of those one-on-one dual battle monsters. So yeah, big, ugly, really makes you wonder what Golemon was thinking when they created him. I see a lot of like Frankenstein kind of pieces put into this. But yes, so much going to be coming to Save the Queen. It's going to be a big update. So I'm guessing this next one here is actually going to be one of the bosses that we are going to be fighting inside the giant airship. So this is going to be the new raid. And it's a giant robot. I don't know what it is with Square Enix, but they just love giant robots. They even admitted that at one point, that they just love robots. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of stuff coming our way for the new raid. And moving on here, they did talk about a little bit more of the gear and rewards that we're going to be getting from it. So they didn't go too much into that. They did show us a couple of pictures. So the first one here is the gear for, I'm guessing it's going to be for aiming. That's what I'm guessing anyway. But it looks like we are finally getting a gear from Penelo. So she's from Final Fantasy XII as well. And this is definitely her outfit. It's cute. Really is cute. I'm not too sure what the others are going to be. I'm really interested in what that's going to look like. But after that, they did show us, this is really, really cool. This is something I'm really looking forward to. This is going to be the new mount. So another Final Fantasy XII reference. This here is going to be the same flying hover bike that Fran and Balthier rode in on when we first saw them. So it's actually going to be a 2-seater mount, so 2 people can ride it together, and I guess you can all kind of cosplay as Fran and Balthier if you really want to. I really want this, so I'm guessing that this is going to be a special reward that we get playing through this. And finally, like the last bit of rewards that they did show us were some outdoor gear. So here we have what looks like a gazebo, we have flowering bushes, and it looks like a flowering tree with, I'm guessing that there are petals or maybe like stones around the base of the tree. So those look really pretty. I do hope to add those onto my own little house. Okay, not too much more was talked about. They did mention about the Resistance Honors. So these are unlocked once you reach Resistance rank 25, and you can actually use And basically here, when you collect enough metal, like when you go overboard with a lot of metal, you can actually go ahead and sell those to get like these special honors. So these are proofs of metal. They can be exchanged for 3 different types of honors that can actually increase your attributes in the Save the Queen areas. So we have the Son of Fortitude, which increases your maximum HP, the Son of Valor, which increases damage dealt, and the Son of Succor, which increases healing potency. And the Son of Succor, which increases healing potency. And you can actually use any one of those in any of these places. They are stackable, so you can continue to stack them onto your character. And finally, for the last bit of Save the Queen update, it's going to be the final step in the Resistance weapon upgrade. So the upgrade quests are going to be available after you unlock Xanor, and you are going to be going to do that through the 5.5 storyline. The stats are going to be slightly better than those of the Eden's Promise Savage weapons, and they're probably going to look even cooler. And once one has been upgraded, the process for upgrading further weapons will differ. So probably the first one is going to be the most difficult, the most time consuming, but after you do that first one, the others should be much easier. Hopefully it'll be easier than this last one, because I'm only up to 4. I really don't think I'll be able to do all of them this time because it's just so time consuming. Okay, and another thing they did mention, which I never really thought of before, but I think it's interesting to talk about, it's desynthesizing gear obtained from trials. So there are some trials where if you obtain some of their gear, such as the weapons, you can actually desynthesize them for special items that you can use for other crafting. So gear obtained from certain extreme trials did not yield crafting materials when desynthesized. So trials whose gear yielded materials included Shinryu, Suzaku, Siryu, Titania, Innocence, Hades, etc. And then there's trials whose gear did not yield any kind of materials, which include Zervin, Byakuya, Tsukiyomi, Warrior of Light, etc. So apparently they never really gave this any thought. It wasn't something that they actually planned, apparently. I think it was just sort of luck of the draw. At least that's the way they kind of described it. Anyway, with the release of patch 5.5 part 2, adjustments are going to be made so that all gear obtained from these trials are going to be giving out crafting materials, which is nice to see. However, they also made it clear that just because they will be increasing it does not mean that you will be getting it 100% of the time, so keep that in mind. So I think that's everything that we really have for the game, at least for patch 5.55. All we're going to talk about real quick is going to be the schedule. And for everything else involving like any kind of merchandise or special events, we're going to be covering in another video, possibly by tomorrow. But moving on to the schedule. So of course, this next upcoming Tuesday, the 25th, is when part 2 is going to be coming out. After that, we have the Make It Rain event, which is going to be coming back to Eorzea on July 7th. So that's about a month and a half away. And then coming June and July, which is going to be patch 5.57, and then July to August, it's going to be 5.58. Minor improvements, adjustments, nothing too special there. But here's going to be another really important thing that's going to be coming back to Eorzea, and that's going to be, I guess, a collaboration of seasonal events. So if you can remember from Valentino's Day and Little Lady's Day, they combined the two. Well, I guess it was a popular idea because they're doing it again to both the Moonfire Fair and the Rising. So those two are normally separate events that take place, and on August 8th we're going to be getting both of them. So we have both the Moonfire Fair, which is kind of the celebration of summer, and then there's the Rising event, which honors like the calamity and just kind of the anniversary of when Final Fantasy XIV first came out. And then finally, which is going to be taking place on September 9th, is going to be the collaboration event of Final Fantasy XV. So for those of you who haven't had the chance to play that certain collaboration, don't worry, it is coming back. So Noctis is going to be coming back to Eorzea. This is going to be your chance to be able to get the car, the Regalia. So that's going to be coming out on September. Now, this isn't really just a solid set schedule just yet. I'm sure that they are going to be having other updates and maybe other events coming to Eorzea in between. This is just really the schedule they have for right now. I did notice, however, they are skipping over All Saints Wake again, which I really hope's not because we missed it last year. So hopefully they will be adding that back in later on. But otherwise, after that, we just have to wait until November for Endwalker to come out. So anyway, that's everything that we know so far for the upcoming patch of 5.55, as well as future updates. I will be continuing to make those updates as the closer that we do get to Endwalkers, as well as to each one of these special events. So yeah, I guess that's going to be it for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have planned for us next. So until next time, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, and I will hopefully be seeing you around patch 5.55. See you next week.